Yo, yo, yo! What is up, everybody? Nick and I just got done playing in the finals of the PPG webcam regional. It was today, Saturday, and yeah, we had a great time. Nick clapped me up in the finals, so we got Nick on to share his winning deck list. Nick, congrats and welcome, bro.
Thanks. That wasn't clap. That was very close game. That was a ridiculous finals.
It was. We actually recorded it too, so that'll be up on the channel soon. But yeah, Nick, just bro, this deck is so sick. I know you've been working on Yellow Turles for a really long time. This is kind of like one of your pet decks. So why don't you tell us a little bit just about the deck and why you chose it?
Yeah. So originally this started with the I think it was UW only format, where just at first I was like, oh, yellow's trash. It doesn't have Final Flash. It doesn't have Cooler. Um, and then as I messed around with the deck a little bit, I realized it was actually kind of very anti-meta. It didn't have a real win con, but overall the deck strategy worked. We went X1 in that tournament, and I just kind of let it be for a while. And I was like, oh, it's still kind of just like a meme, and it needs a boss monster. And then, well, I'll show you soon. The deck definitely has a boss monster now.
Yeah.
So Turles is cool is because you get to start with your Vegeta counterplay live turn 0, not turn 1, turn 0. So if your opponent goes first, like you can still just rest the cards, which is kind of broken.
That's crazy, especially with what we got now in the game.
So starting with that is good. I really like this deck mixed in with the Gohan Unison, which is the boss monster of the deck, just because at the end of the day, it's relatively not very many decks can interact with it. So it's very strong card. And then the secondary reason why I like Turles is just because there's a lot of utility. You can Spirit Boost once per turn and gain 10k, so your markers are just part of creating a fake hand size, just a secondary resource. And you can awaken with 8 life, so alt win con decks just don't really affect you.
That was so frustrating in our match where I was like, oh, you have so many cards in hand and you're at such a high life. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I probably should have just stayed above 4.
But. I was surprised. Yeah, I was surprised you went down, but we can get that in the match. Why don't you run them through the deck, bro? I'll just let you take it away.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're just gonna start with our Unison lineup. You don't need to run Roomshi, but I really like keeping 2 because end of the day, you're running a big list of cards, and if you miss Gohan, then like you can only have 4 of him. So I would say Roomshi is still needed. I play Roomshi instead of the Turles 5-drop because there's enough blue in the format that he's not really good enough. And he's also just never going to stick around for more than a turn. Whereas at least this card, I can play it, do an entire huge board wipe against aggro decks, and then lead into a really good turn to Gohan later. So he's really important. I wouldn't say he necessarily won me any games today, but there are times where I couldn't find Gohan and I played this, and it just really helped.
It makes sense.
Gohan Unison's just kind of broken.
He's broken, bro. Card's nuts.
Yeah, Turles naturally, if you play like the actual engine of the deck, is terrible at drawing. So if you take it all out and throw this in, you're gonna have a huge hand. Like I had one turn, I had like 19 cards in hand or something, and that was after stuffing cards under for Gohan.
Yeah, I vividly remember this.
I'll bet you would. So yeah, that's just all the Unisons. You don't have to play Roomshi, but I think especially in best of 1, you should have it just to be able to help out with board wiping aggro decks. Next up, we're going to do our extra card package, which is huge. It gives me big Mecha Frieza vibes. So we got 4 Release from Evil. This card's absolutely snapped. The fact that just for free, you can essentially Final Flash something.
It was so good.
And then it can't restand. Boss monsters don't really affect you.
Nice Kale, idiot.
You're not wrong. Next up is 2 Death Blaster. If I decide, just going through the day, a 3rd one is probably necessary, but you shouldn't run less than 2. Any decks that play the older boss monsters that don't have Deflect, apparently they just all have Deflect now. This just keeps you safe. So.
Yep, I agree. It's very good.
And the fact that it puts the card in rest is huge because that works really well with the Gohan.
Yeah.
We just run 2 realms. You can run 3 if you want, but at least in best of 1, I think 2 is fine. Most people are able to play around it. You very rarely get to actually rest cards, but just the cycle on it's nice. We run 2 Tyrannical Blows. I wish I could make room for a third. Deck space is just super tight.
No side, man. It's hard.
Yeah. So, card game and clutch all day. Would play again. Some new tech that I haven't been running, but I've been wanting to, but just I haven't really been able to play any events for the most part this year. So, Time Magic, even better with boss monsters. Some, if you're at 4 or less life, playing Release from Evil feels pretty bad against them because they get you down to 3, which is kill range. So Time Magic is nice, and then additionally as well, it does have the sparking.
Yep.
If you need to.
It ignores barrier. The card was crazy. I was like, that was pretty good.
It felt great. We just played a 1 of for Flying Nimbus. This could have been a third Tyrannical Blow, but whenever I needed it, matchups, I seemed to find it. Card was really good.
Would you keep that in?
Yeah, I'd probably just side 2 in best of 3.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
But for best of 1, 1 felt fine.
What kind
of Final Flash.
Before you jump into that one, what kind of matchups were you liking Nimbus for?
That's just anybody who's going to be going wide on me with battle cards. So, like AOD, U7, like played Android 16, all that stuff came in relevant against it.
Oh, that makes sense.
A lot of decks are able to spam a board, so it's handy. And it's a hard negate for 1 energy. A lot of decks can interact with battle card negates, and then you lose your floodgate effect, where this is nice, because it just has to actually get countered.
Yeah.
I kind of hate Final Flash these days. At least defensively. Offensively, it's kind of broken. Because at least it's a 15k. But this specifically won me at least 2 matchups today. So,
hey,
I mean, the deck as 1 or
maybe
2
you shouldn't hate it anymore, Nick. I don't know. I hate this card. It won me 2 games. I'm going to throw it out.
I just find good players typically just play around it and you don't get value. So I never got value out of it defensively. Offensively, yeah, it's still really good.
Makes sense.
And then obviously just 1 of, we don't need to talk about Power of Super Saiyan. Now we're moving on to battle cards. So we're running 4 Vegeta. Again, just because he's free is pretty snapped.
And he's live immediately. I love the card. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. Like, no one even attempted to kill my Unison today, which was smart, because I'll just soak that up all day. I really don't care. Nope. Everyone was smart enough to just swing at my face. But yeah, this card, put in work all day. Love it at 4. I don't think you should even consider less. Yep. We run 3 of this new negate. So this is Super Saiyan Son Goku Final Sacrifice. This is also really good in early game against aggro decks, because you can just rest something, KO it, draw a card. You don't get the board presence off of it, but you don't really need it. Like, you're relying on Gohan Unison. I like running this at 4 of in best of 3. But best of 1, we had to make cuts somewhere. But this card was huge all day. Nice. Like, worst case scenario, it's 1 energy, 15k swinger. And there were some times where, like, defensively, someone played Divine Presence against me. And then I just tapped 1 for this, rested it, KO'd it. And I was like, all right, now you can't kill me next turn.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. I think that's something that people sometimes overlook with that card. That's like a really cool use for it.
It's a very utility-heavy card.
Yeah.
So, I love it. This card put in tons of work all day. So this is Android 17 and 18 Demonic Duo.
Nick does not stop talking about this card.
So I used to play this over the 4-drop Ape when I played Mecha, because this card has Deflect.
Right.
So no one's really messing with it. And then on top of that, this card is like a mini Bergamo. So it wasn't as good before because you ran 4 Bergamos, but now that you only run 1, the card's kind of snap. So dual attacker, half Bergamo when it's removed by a skill. Most games when I played this, it stuck around for like 4 or 5 turns.
Yeah. That's just like free value.
Yeah, everyone was too scared to, like, red can't really afford to just lose an energy.
Right.
And then blue typically in the early game also doesn't want to. So if I see this turn 2, like, it just puts in work.
Yeah.
I don't think it did a whole lot in our matchup, but
Nah,
I just played it.
but it's
I
fine.
played it too early.
Yeah. I mean, it got an extra couple negates out of my hand though, so which I didn't
It
have
did.
enough at the end, so it accumulates.
Yeah, you know that weird like starting with 6. I think it was still good that you kept yourself at 6 for so long.
I have to. You kill me every time if
You
I don't.
I would have.
Yeah, I know.
I would
I know. But anyways.
I ran 4 Gohans. This is for hand control. For the most part, I wouldn't say it came in handy because I only played against one hand control deck all day, which was Jared Lopez round 6.
Yeah.
That was super close. I think I won by like 5 or 10k. Very close matchup. He also had a play where he let me take something back. I forgot to do the activate main on Basil, and he just said, "Don't worry about it." And, like I
Nice.
had the 5-minute rest.
Yeah,
So,
Jared's a really good guy.
yeah, shout out to Jared for. I probably deserved to get screwed in that one, but he's good people. So thank you, Jared. So yeah, this put him work in that matchup, and then also for decks that are more control-y, it's just a really good cantrip turn 1, and then you can just draw a card,
Yeah.
stay at 8, combo.
Did it in our game, and it was fine.
Yep, did everything it needed to. 2 Dragon Fist.
Ah, yes.
This card is good. It's mostly in here for Bulma, but also for certain control decks, it's a problem. But if you're running into like a blue deck, then this card kind of sucks because they just bottom deck it.
Mm-hmm.
So it put in work against Jimmy. I got to play like 3 of them on him in our final game.
You played it very optimally though. You timed him very well. You didn't just like slam him down.
Yeah, I had to make you like waste a dirty burst in the early game, and then it just was able to sit there. So I was happy being able to play the card. But really good card. You don't need to main deck it. This is more just for like mostly Bulma for the most part. And this deck has a terrible time against that deck, so I was just forced to run it. We run 4 Mecha Negates.
Yes. Had to get that finalist in there.
we did. I don't think the negate's as good as it used to be. Everyone knows how to play around it for the most part. I think it's broken versus Trunks Cheetah. Just because all their cards are barrier, so they actually have to be resting their energy. But outside of that matchup, I don't find this negate's fantastic, so if we ever get something that's different, I will happily replace it at some point, but for now it still does the job.
Yep. Gotta work with what you got. That's it.
Exactly. We ran 3 coolers. Even mixed rarity for fun. Card's broken. It's the backbone of yellow, basically. So if this does get limited or banned, I'll be very sad, and I'll have to reconsider playing yellow.
Yeah. That and Gohan Unison, man. Like, if you're playing yellow and not playing those 2 cards, that sounds crazy.
Yeah, and we're in the meta. Like, I would run a 4th in my side if it's best of 3. But best of 1, yeah, there's no space. You got to tech it out. So 3's fine. In a control meta, you need to run multiples. So super combo of choice. We got a little bit spicy with it. We're running the Beerus super combo.
Yeah, talk about this, bro.
So this deck has problems with super combos because some people leave you at 8 life, some people aggro you down, and then Krillin's really good, or you're not necessarily able to build up a drop in the early game, so you can't necessarily do like a Sparking super combo as easily. So this is live always. The only time it sucks is if somebody goes in with like a barrier battle card, then you can't do anything, which is kind of annoying. But overall, this card put in work all day. I was not upset to not be running Krillin. This card was fantastic.
Yeah.
So if you're running the blue yellow,
that's awesome.
If you're running blue yellow Turles, you can't run this because there's too much like mono blue in the deck with Bean. But I only ran 1 black card in the entire deck, so
yeah,
I was not at risk of this ever anything happening with it. 1 Bergamo.
Yep, that's a given.
Probably should be banned at some point.
Yeah.
1 Champa.
Yep, also a given. That with Cooler is broken.
Oh, yeah, that's the one thing. I don't bother running the Fruit of Tree, the green extra card to give your leader 20k in Double Strike. I like utilizing my markers in the early game to Spirit Boost, so it doesn't really gel that well.
Makes sense.
And then especially with the super combo of choice. Having more off-colored cards is just kind of sucks. I played one Jiren just to respect 17. I didn't have to use it once all day, but it
There's a
fine.
reason, right? Like
You are
you
just
can't
forced to
17 into
respect
2
it.
energy. So no, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, so didn't need to use it all day, but at the same time, I still played around it, and in the finals against Jimmy, like he was playing around it the whole time too. Um, this card, which I both
Yo.
love and hate. So this is Son Goku, a gift from Earth. This won me at least 2 games
I
today.
bet.
So this was a secondary tech for Bulma, but it helped me win a game against Sin because it just kept his
Tell them
markers.
what it does, because everyone's probably looking at this card like,
Oh,
what is this?
yeah. So this isn't like the most playable card. It's deflect, blocker. For each marker on Unisons in play, so that's you and your opponent, you can reduce it by
Yeah.
1. So turn 2, you can just play this
Mm-hmm.
for 2 energy. Um, it's got an auto that if your opponent's Unison has 3 or more markers on it, when your move markers are Spirit Boost, then you remove that many markers off your opponents. So you just Spirit Boost 2 for the activate main. You can choose up to opponent's battle card 4 or less in rest mode to KO it, and then this game's plus 5k and double strike. So it just helps get rid of Unison. So like if someone's
Yeah.
running Boo Unison, this is great because then
Yeah.
you just put it down.
I'm
You just put it
thankful
down
that
to
you didn't
2
play it
or 1
against
marker.
me.
Yeah, I wanted to, and then the one time I had the opportunity, I messed up my sequencing, but it was fine. Card's still really good. So I was able to close out a game with this, and then also keep some other people in check. So
Yeah.
I think in Turles, this card's pretty decent. Other decks, I don't know, I guess Yardrat Goku, it's not bad. But this is mostly a check for the King Piccolo, Unison, um, King Piccolo Unison for Bulma.
Yep.
Since you can't really interact with it well enough. So yeah, card put in work. And also, like it's a 0 5k and it's a double striker for 2 energy. Like it's not bad.
Yeah.
It's never dead. This card was pretty good all day. I didn't always get to see it. I didn't have a lot of token negates played on me today, but there's a few spots where I was able to just utilize it properly and get max value off of it. But this Bardock's from Draft Box 4. It's reprinted, so it's cheap. If your opponent has 3 or more energy, then you can just rest something. So you can't always afford to counterplay something into rest. Token negates kind of burn this deck. Yellow doesn't have a really good time against token negates, so this just helps solve that. I like running it too, but again, best of 1. I just had to trim something, so
Easy
1
way to
out was fine.
trigger Bergamo too.
It does trigger Bergamo.
Mm,
We got 1 Absolute Annihilation.
good card.
This is a good card. I think I was only able to play it like once or twice today. I just didn't really see it, or it wasn't the right time, or I played a lot of red, so just slamming this down turn 4 just doesn't make sense. I'd rather just slam a Gohan.
No,
If they have
yeah.
if they have Vegeta SCR, they have Vegeta SCR. But yeah, good card. Wasn't able to utilize it today really. 1 Basil again. Would run 2. Was happy running 1. Card's fine. You could also just cut it for different tech if you really wanted to. You have a lot of dual attacks in the deck anyways, so I'm indifferent on it. Still a fine card. And then best SCR for yellow.
Yeah,
Father's
SCR is
Son SCR.
broken. Buy it now. I don't know why it's under $200, but it is the best yellow SCR to have.
But yeah, that's the deck. I've had a lot of fun with it. I really like the mono yellow. I get why blue yellow is really good too. I just don't like having some dead turns sometimes.
Yeah, no. Obviously, it put in work for you, man. You won the whole thing, so congrats again on that.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Other than that, any shout outs you want to give?
Shout out to the team. Shout out to my little mini Turles group of friends who I was able to bounce ideas off of. We, I haven't really put anything out for this deck for a while. I really wanted to be able to play a tournament and this not be something that's meta relevant for all summer, and I finally got to actually play something. So I was very excited to be able to play it, and then most people not really know what it was. But I did have a couple of techs in the deck that I took out. Like I took the 1 Poutine out, and then I took out the token negates for time magic. Those are things I've been thinking of, but after listening to Scott Dashy's profile video for his second place with Turles with the blue yellow, it made a lot of sense from everything he said. I was like, yeah, let's just try it. Like these cards have been underperforming for me anyways, and yeah, deck worked great without them. So shout out to Scott Dashy for his recommendations on those. That's basically it. Go Hermit style.
All right, cool, man. Well, thanks for coming on, doing the profile. It was super fun playing you in the finals, and yeah, we'll have you back on again soon.
All right, sounds great. See ya.
See ya.
I got the real world problem on my back every day. I got the shit this way to try whatever I